All right, what's going on? It's Bobby Skinner, Giants Nation, with another draft film breakdown. This time we're looking at the top of the board with Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. The backs have 3,000 yards, 40 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. He is an explosive threat. He is looking to create the big play, whether it's bursting through the hole, cutback, or bouncing a play. We'll talk about some of the negative drawbacks from that. Him overall as a runner, but this is a good player, right? There's a reason why this guy's getting top 10, even some top 5 buzz, because as the NFL is getting a little bit more back to the run game and needing explosives out of the run game, Love is somebody who is explosive, right? That's the way you describe him. So we're gonna get into the film here in a second. First, make sure to like and subscribe. That's what makes this channel grow. That's what these are not our most viewed videos, but these are what grow our audience. So like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Uh let's get into it. So first play, we're gonna go through first just his burst through the hole, right? When everything is designed correctly, it's blocked fairly well. How does he get through the hole? So obviously we're here number 4. Right? This one's pretty simple. But you get to see his explosiveness, his speed, his acceleration as he creates a 70-yard touchdown. So let's back up. All right, so we're here at the mesh point, and you see defensive line flowing, right? Linebackers flowing. So where's our crease, right? Our crease is opening up in this backside A gap. All right, so pretty simple. We see that. We cut, get north and south. Get north and south. Right. Linebacker diving our ankles. We're able to avoid that. And now we let the speed just take over and win, right? You guys don't need me to break down how this guy's fast and he has the ability to run past people. Next play here versus Texas A&M. This is going to be a touchdown. It's a good job running through contact. All right, running like this inside zone. Number 15 slants into the B gap. Right, slants into the B gap. 21 is coming to fill through here. Love sees it. 21 is not playing it as fast as he probably should. So what are we going to do? Let's just hit the hole. Right, our tackle ends up coming off the 21. Let's hit the hole. 21's there. Dip our shoulder, explode through, keep on running. Touchdown. This time just a nice defined hole, and then we're able to get on the outside, right? We see that speed, right? B gap, wide open, right? Defensive end playing upfield. So just take that. Now we cut upfield. DB jumps inside. Watch how quick we're able to cut back off of this. Boom. Go and fight to get an extra 5 yards and make it a nice 15-yard chunk play. Here again, it's back versus Syracuse. Linebacker fills the backside A. There's our gap, right? There's our gap, A gap. Now we got the one-on-one with the safety. All right, let's break him down a little bit. Get ourselves an extra 5 yards. Here again, bursting, breaking tackles, right? Running through tackles. Get yourself 10 yards instead of 4. We're going to hit this backside A gap. Defensive lineman's able to shed that tackle, get full arms around him, run through that, right? Arm tackles aren't going to work. Run through that. Keep our balance. Keep our feet churning. And then you see the cutbacks, right? Like the speed allows him to get these cutbacks and turn these into touchdowns or explosive plays. Right, this is short yardage, but I wanted to start with this one. Right, we're inside zone. Okay, this is not here. This is not here. Let's find the crease, right? Let's work side the crease of the back side of the blocking, right? Which is right here. You would hope 2 would, got blocked up a little bit better, but just stay off the crease of our right tackle and go. Here, this is going to be a 95-yard touchdown here. So I won't show the whole thing first. Defense is flowing heavily, right? Gap, 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 gap. Here, where's our cutback? Right now, we got to have the speed, right? We've got to have the speed and the explosiveness to pull this off. You want to press it as long as you can, and then you create this path, right? Pull the defense as long as you can, press it, get upfield. And then you just see, that's where you see the speed and his ability to create explosive plays, take off, the 20, the 10, touchdown Notre Dame. Here again, right? Boston College flowing heavily. So, I mean, this is really good, right? Patience. There's times where he's got a little too much patience, but patience, right? Every gap is accounted for. So press it, press it, press it now, right? Now's when we've got this path here. Create a 10-yard play. You know, 15 yards here versus Syracuse. Right? Left guard gave up penetration. That's not good. That slows our path. A lot of mess up here. Defense is flowing. All right. Let's let our left tackle squeeze this down. Let's cut right off of him and create ourselves a 15-yard play. But let's talk about the good and bad of his athletic ability, his explosiveness. And, we just went through, showing his burst through inside zone or design play or the cutbacks, right? But those are things that are designed based on the flow of the defense. We're going to go through some examples of him going above and beyond and the attempt to go above and beyond leading to negative. So let's get into it. We're just kind of going to go through his ability to bounce a play. So here versus Miami, where he ends up leaping on this, which that is a highlight play. It's sick. There's too many more examples of the leaping not going well. He needs to stop doing that. But here we are, right? We're working inside zone, right? We freeze frame it right here, inside zone. All right, B gap, right? Hit the B gap, right? It's not the biggest crease in the world. Hit the B gap. Maybe you cut back, like you want to hit the B gap, right? Or maybe you cut back off of this based on how this defense alignment here is playing. But we press it here and say, instead of following that, I'm just going to show off my athletic ability. I'm going to get to the corner. I'm going to bounce this and take it to the corner. And guess what? He's able to outrun Ruben Bain. His tight end does a good job on that block. And he's able to hurdle and get that ball down to the 2-yard line, where if we had followed the design of the play, it would have been 4 or 5 yards, at best. Here they're going to run counter, right? We're going to pull our guard and our tackle. I hate running counter like this because the defensive ends are smart enough to just chase it the correct way. But, right, Bain does a good job of getting hands on this puller. Most guys at this point, what are we doing, right? Let's just follow this, right? Let's just follow this up through here. Let's get as many yards as we can. What Love ends up doing is we're here, right? Again, most would just say follow, right? Get on that outside hip of 74. Maybe you get the cut up off inside of it based on the flow of this linebacker. What Love does is he bounces outside, spins off of this, and gets himself a 9-10 yard play. Here versus Texas A&M, right? They're in this tight front, right, where we've got, lined inside, 4-eye, nose, and then you've got help outside. All right, if they're going to line like that, right, they're going to try and clog up the run lanes. I'm going to bounce this. And we see those quick cuts. Watch that. Just nice. Quick cut, right? DB is coming. He works outside of our wide receiver. We cut right off of that. Nice chunk play. Good balanced chunk play. Here versus Texas A&M again. All right, they're going to run this. They Love plays into their hands the way they want, because what they do is they have the defensive lineman slant inside, and then the linebacker is going to replace, right? So what you want, what the defense wants, is Love to run right into the linebacker, and that's exactly what Love does. The difference being is that Love is able to get to the corner faster than 54, right? And that's awesome. We're going to go through some here against Syracuse, which is also much lesser competition than Miami and Texas A&M, which are very good competition defensively. But we're going to get into it. These are awesome, but sometimes in the NFL, you just don't have these opportunities. You kind of get out of the mindset of doing this so often, but you also don't want to take away his big playability, right? This is not as exaggerated as the other ones, but we sift through all this traffic, and we're going to create a long touchdown run. Excuse me. Right? Most people at this point say, "Oh man, our center got gave up penetration. Our tackle and guards combo isn't working well. They've got 3 guys out here. Let me just cut this up here and get the yards I can." Instead, slow plays it. Like I said, we make number 2 miss, and now we're off to the races for a long 45-yard touchdown. Here again against Syracuse. Right? Just taking an inside zone play and essentially turning the outside zone. Where, like this one is not like, oh, he should have done this. This is just showing off his ability. Like, hey, your tackle and guard backside did a terrible job. Create something out of this. Get to the outside. Good job by the tight end. Receivers getting a hat on a hat. And you get yourself a touchdown. And just like the ability to evade, right? This should be a tackle for a loss, right? They filled this perfectly. 0 works in here. This should be a tackle for a loss at this point, right? You live to run another day. Instead, we're able to run outside of 91, spin, cut and spin inside of 30, keep our feet down, keep churning. We turn that into a 4-yard gain. That's a successful run. Now, let's go through the bad examples of the bounce, right? Getting outside. Here against Texas A&M. Here at the mesh point, right? Where are we reading this at the mesh point, right? We're looking at this. Where do we want to go? Backside A gap, right there. The 27 is flowing overhead. Obviously, this linebacker is going to come into play, but that's where we want to go. The backside A gap, that's there. Instead, like we get 4 yards, maybe more if you're able, if this linebacker doesn't get over fast enough. Instead, we bounce it into a mess, and we get 0 or 1 yard on that instead of a successful run, right? Turning a run that could be successful into unsuccessful, obviously vice versa of what we had been doing before. Here, next play. I mean, this is one that, this is a gap run, right? We're designing this, right? We're bringing both of our tight ends in here. It's like crunch play where this is where you need to go. We're here, right? If this linebacker flows heavily over, then you can cut back off of it. But what the option that can't be is working out here. And that's what we end up doing. Again, taking what could be a very successful run and turning into a 1-yard gain at best. Here, this is 4th and 1, right? They're running the Wildcat. I thought maybe there's the games where it's better, but I thought they did a terrible job running the Wildcat. All right, so we're going to run power out of the Wildcat. All right, we need 1 yard, right? This is 4th down. This is not time to be a hero. This is the time to move the chains. So what is the design of the play? We're running power. We want to work off of our puller. Our puller doesn't do the best of jobs, but we want to work off of our puller. So what we need to be doing is staying tight to this puller. And then, I know it's not great view here, but we should be trying to work inside of this, right? Or outside and get that 1 yard. Instead, we get rushed. We don't trust our puller at all. And we just run to the outside trying to be hero ball. And now we just had a turnover on downs. Here versus Syracuse. Right? We're running counter. Right? You're running counter. You're supposed to work off the inside shoulder, number 9. That's what you want to do. And if we work off the inside shoulder, number 9, look at what we've got. It's here. It's here, right? You got one-on-one with the safety. This is what you want. This is the way you design it. Instead, we bounce it. Our pulling kick, our kick out block does a terrible job. Just play this inside. Play it the way it's designed. Instead, again, this is the 4-yard run. It's not terrible, but that could have been an explosive run. Let's go through the passing game. He only had 500 yards receiving over the last 2 seasons. They didn't use him that way a ton. I do think there is more ability there. I do also think that every top running back that comes out of college is like, oh man, they need to use him more as a receiver. I don't know, but I do think there is ability there besides just checkdowns and screens, which is the majority of running back receiving. You have this first play where you put him on this rail route. All right, so this is just them not covering him. But he makes a tough catch, creates a touchdown by not going down. That's a tough catch, right? Get out there with one hand, gather it. But you do see his speed and his ability to use leverage on some routes. But this is going to be the majority of running back receiving is this, right? We're going to widen you out, motion you out, choice route, right? Option route. That's what you're going to get out of him, where it's, we're going to widen you out. We're going to see if you got a matchup. All right, linebacker staying inside leverage, break out. All right, this ball's behind, so, good adjustment to catch it. Here again versus Miami, this time to the right. Widen out. Run that choice route. Right, so, I think he's got good receiving ability, really good receiving ability. And, again, I think you can put him out there for a couple plays out wide. I do think at the end of the day, you want your wide receivers doing that, not your running backs. But there is an opportunity to get some mixed matches. But the majority is obviously going to be screens and checkdowns. But that's where, again, the athletic ability, that's how you can create explosive plays, right? A team's really keying in on your run game. All right, let's get him involved in the passing game. This is talking to a Giants channel. Remember that 2022 playoff season? Teams really started keying on the run game. What did the Giants start doing? They started involving Saquon in the passing game, and it got the offense back on track. And it allowed them to use him without just handing him the ball 25 times per game when defenses are just scheming against it. As a blocker, this is a bad block, this play here. But this was the only bad pass block that I saw from him, right? Doesn't do it, just 15 does a good job of, getting him off balance, getting underneath his pads. So, I do think there needs to be better, more aggressive technique with him because I do think he's passive. Right, he wants to throw a punch and then not be ready. So you got to bring your shoulder into it a little bit. But outside of that, I thought it was pretty good for the most part. Here he gets a knockdown. Right, I want a little more aggression after the first punch. Right, he does good technique, good punch. All right, gets him down. There should be an immediate reaction go make sure he stays on the ground, where it's oh, maybe I can still do this. But overall, I think the pass block is good. So, Jeremiyah Love, I think this is a real deal player, man. Obviously running back situation is going to matter no matter where you go, but I just think this is a guy who's going to be top of the NFL in rushing fairly consistently, and is going to be able to create explosive plays for you. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I think he can, the vision stuff, guys get better at that. And if you have better offensive line, but more defined run schemes, then some of that stuff takes care of itself. So appreciate you guys. Until then, let's go Big Blue.